Hello, friends. This is John Clement III with episode 83 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, the podcast. And today we're going to review Uncanny X-Men 163. So let's get to this. And once again, thank you to Francisco for providing the theme song to the podcast. Appreciate it, and you. And thanks to Mile High Comics, I got this in a fine edition. I was going to say very fine, but that's an actual recognized condition of a comic. So this is fine. And once again, doesn't seem too bad. I'm pretty sure it's better than Oh Dad Eyes have. But we are going to review this in part of the Marvels coverage, where I just pretty much read Carol Danvers comics. So this is issue 163. It was 60 cents or 25 pence or 75 cans. Uh, it's Kitty Pryde on the cover in a white mini skirt, shorter than what Jean's green mini skirt is, not to bring up that controversy, as a broodling is trying to attack her. The character box in the left corner has Nightcrawler, Storm, Colossus, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Kitty in her classic trainer outfit uniform. And then bottom left corner is the Spider-Man mask. This comic, oh man, just turning the page and I got that old comic book smell to it, and you miss this like ink, or is it the paper stock? It has to be the paper stock, right? And this came out in November 1982, so I would have been 10 months old. Just fun how that worked out. This title is Rescue Mission, a Stanley presentation starring the Uncanny X-Men. Scripter, Chris Claremont. Artists, Dave Cockrum and Bob Wyckoff. One of my all-time favorite artists, or inkers. Well, and artists, but top 10 inkers, Bob Wyckoff will be number one, probably. As I clearly can't think of a second one besides Jimmy Periotti. Oh, and Terry Austin. Uh-oh, are we doing this? Are we making a top 5 list? Can I think of another inker who is... now I'm trying to think of who Sal Buscema's inker was on Spectacular Spider-Man. Apparently, Sal Buscema inked his own Spider-Man run, so that's pretty awesome. Or at least he inked Spectacular Spider-Man 200. But while looking that up, I remember Alan Davis's inker was Mark Farmer, so he will get a shout out. I feel like I had another inker that came to mind, but Dan Green, of course, legend. So, and Al Vey, right? He did George Perez in the Avengers run. I think that's 6 inkers. But those are definitely top 6. What a great list. Joe Rosen, letterer, Bob Sharon, colorist, who also apparently was the colorist for Spectacular Spider-Man 200. So, you know, legend Bob Sharon. Editor Louise Jones and editor-in-chief Jim Shooter. She shrieks, she howls, she sobs, but the torment never ends as we get a splash page of poor Carol just being zapped by the Brood as they're running tests on her. And we'll just read this dialogue. And the Brood speak English for some reason, and not like telepathically to each other, but just with their mouths jabbing, which I don't know. They don't have lips, and they got giant teeth that are the size of their own heads. So how does it work? And so Brood saying, our subject, whose personal identifications Carol Danvers, is a bipedal hominid, female level 2 on the standard evolutionary scale. Her companions, the X-Men, are mutants, genetic deviants from the racial norm, endowed with extraordinary physical and mental abilities. That is why we of the Brood acquire them as host forms for the progeny on our great mother during the final metamorphosis, each hatchling will absorb the powers of the genetic potential of its host. However, this creature is an anomaly, neither mutant nor baseline human. Her DNA matrix is unique. And what a great way to catch everyone up, especially this many years later, which I guess I don't have to do the math on. It's literally 41 years later. Um, but speaking of which, I was looking at how many issue 41s I had, and I had two, one of them being Ultimate Spider-Man 41, and I have no idea why I pulled it out to be in my Shadow and Flame and Magic collection. Read it over. I went to UncannyX-Men.net. I went to fandom.com, and no references to Kitty, no future references. Like, it was really Kitty who did this and this. Like, so if you know why old dad would have done it, let me know. I do know that she is in issue 42, but that's not issue 41. So I was like, oh, it's going to be a last page reveal, but no reference there. Wolverine's reference, but that's not enough. It's not a Wolverine collection. Though, plenty of Wolverine in this collection. By Wolverine, I mean Logan. And so they're turning her into pure energy and changing her body around, making her even look like a brood. And so, I should have paused it. And so she is now a brood, and so now they're just, now we're getting a narration box, but it's also, we know it's Logan. Like, we see his shadow in the back. It's taken me the better part of a day and a night to reach the Sleazoid City. The first familiar scent I tag is Carol's. She's in a lab complex. I remember her being carried off by a couple of Brood scientists and for an examination. I'm not sure which would be worse, finding her dead or alive. I followed the techno. I figured he would be my ticket into the lab. And then the Brood senses a presence. Wolverine does a snick and then just starts slaying. The sucker fights for all the good that does him. And then he throws him into a glass, alerting the other Brood of his presence. And we see Wolverine has scales, which is really the lines around the Brood body. So his body is slowly becoming a Brood. And so his captions continue. My claws are pure adamantium, the strongest metal known. Razor keen, were tactical into my forearms. My skeleton's laced with the same stuff, making my bones virtually unbreakable. What classes me as a mutant, though, is my body's natural ability to heal any wound, cure any disease. Extensions of that basic talent give me fantastically keen senses and abilities. I'm fast, strong, agile. Hell on wheels. Infinite assets in line of my work. Technically, I'm a superhero, one of the good guys. Before that, I was an agent, Canadian Secret Service. Before that, a commando. By birth, training one choice, I'm a warrior. The best there is, and the crowd quickly learns. Except, he was more born an aristocrat, but, they don't know that at the moment. Or he doesn't remember. I hear her moan. Carol. We go back a ways, she and I. Which now you got Lego Batman being like, I and she. She worked together a lot, even when she was a part of us U.S. Air Force intelligence. She's a friend. When the Russians KGB captured her, I was one of the team that disobeyed orders and pulled her out. She was a lovely lady, skin and soul. Now she's barely recognizable as a human being. Her features flow like hot wax shaped by some sicko sculptor's hands, shifting without rhyme or reason. Obviously, the Sleazoid Gizmo is responsible. Problem is how to shut the sucker down. And so, yeah, we see Carol. Well, we see her like foot, but now we see her. I don't know, like she's like a weird melty ball with like petals coming out of it. I can't make head nor tail of the control, so I decided to leave well enough alone. Fiddling only makes things worse. Instead, I cross my fingers and wreck everything in sight. Simple, effective, like me. I'm luckier than I deserve. And so then we see Carol fall out of the machine, human, but nude, and like having like steam coming off her body because she is very hot. I hope Carol feels the same. Easy, darling. You've had a rough ride, but I think you're going to be okay. Fire burning within me, so bright, so beautiful. Logan, help me. He gives her a robe, which I don't know where that came from. I don't know how. I've been lying, of course. Carol isn't all right. She knows it. She looks normal, but appearance doesn't matter. Beings. Her scent's no longer human. That scares us both. And we see her eyes go from the galaxy to her blue eyes. But we're professionals with a job to do, so we cope as best we can. That's twice I you my life, Logan. Who's counting? We gotta roll, Carol, before someone notices our little farkas. And then she somehow ties the dress around, so she has uh, a sash, which I guess she's familiar with how to dress with as from her Miss Marvel days. Fine with me. Strange after all the sleazoids put me through. You'd think I'd be weak, physically shot to pieces, but I feel better than I have in ages. Literally bursting with energy. Let's hope it lasts, darling, because we're sure needed before we're through. Logan, do you think we have a chance? Does it matter? No, I suppose not. Meanwhile, back on Earth, on a sprawling estate some 40 miles from New York City, a mansion is being rebuilt. Until recently, it housed Professor Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters and served as home and secret headquarters of the X-Men. The silent sparkle of a transporter heralds the arrival of two figures on the lawn. They're expected. The young woman is Lorna Dane. The young man, Alex Summers. Mutants, lovers, part-time X-Men. The other man is Alex's father, Christopher Summers, former Major USA Force. Now as Corsair, he leads a band of interstellar freebooters, the Starjammers. So I take it. Oh yeah. So it's the Summers boys have teleported down, and so Havoc's catching up with Polaris. The X-Men are still missing, which makes Alex mad, and he starts wrecking the place, which is irritating as they're rebuilding it. Like, take your anger somewhere else. Corsair reacts automatically with the speed of thought, using the parsing jewels on his gloves to summon his hand weapons. In a split second, he's ready for action. But then he realizes it's foolish. It was just Alex letting off some steam. And Mario McTaggart's there to make to try to make um, Corsair feel embarrassed, and he just leaves because I guess he is embarrassed. And he's going to look for Scott and the X-Men in space because they have a spaceship. A galaxy away, Scott Summers, Alex's older brother, runs for his life, and we see Cyclops blasting the Brood, and he's getting tired, but he just keeps doing it. And then all of a sudden, the Brood turn into his friends, Colossus and Storm. He turns towards his friends and teammates, only to make his greeting become a strangled cry of horror and denial. And he shoots them, and then he sees a Brood dressed as himself. Fangs and claws tear at him, stripping away his humanity, revealing the young queen nestling in his soul. Despair sweeps through him, and when he draws him close to his doom, he does not resist. But then suddenly, and now we see a Brood dressed as Nightcrawler, and now we're seeing Xavier lifting up Scott. The image is a phantom, he realizes. All the images are phantoms, real and threatening, only so long as he allows them to be so. Which is curious because Danny Moonstar's a character at this point, and so can bring your nightmares to life, or at least make you think they've come to life. Xavier is the most powerful telepath on Earth. From the beginning, he trained the X-Men to resist psionic attacks. resist. Cyclops draws on all he's learned, on courage proven on scores of battlefields, on strength he never knew he possessed, and wakes. It's got, I don't know, it has some type of blindfold on or something that makes sure he doesn't blast off. And I don't recognize this uniform, but he's wearing like an all blue, like a Spider-Man outfit, but all blue. But then with like Captain America red gloves and thigh-high red boots and a black belt around his waist that's like maybe 6 inches and with yellow trims. And he sees Storm in a trance. He steps forward and freezes as before his disbelieving eyes. Energy caresses around Aurora into the form of one of the creatures from his nightmares. The young queen smiles at him. As a bolt of lightning splits the sky, the astral image fades. As he did see Storm, and it's a great choice here. We're just using red ink. We see the Brood Queen's face come over Aurora, which at first I was like, oh, maybe someone drew this, and that's why this is a fine copy, but clearly it's supposed to be the Brood. And Storm comes out of her trance crying because she's also feeling herself dying. And then Wolverine and Carol come out. Psycho, buddy. That's the least of our problems. It ain't pretty story, darling, and it can wait. Top priority's hauling our tails off this rock pronto. The Cyclops wants to hear what plans they have. The Sleazoid City is built into the carcass of one of their living starships. The skeleton's so flaming big, its bones reach above the breathable atmosphere. Lil's yacht is moored to the top of the line of the main ribs. We reach it, we take it, we're gone. The Quinjet goes to summon the team's other members, and soon they catch up to Colossus. Oh no, they have found Colossus, and now he's as part of the away team. And Wolverine and Cyclops does not love their odds. And Carol speaks up. Fascinating. These corridors don't appear to be constructed, but the result of some natural organic process. And so they just continue to walk. Gentlemen, that just says you postpone your discussion. Oh yeah, because Logan wants to just kill all the Brood, and Cyclops is hesitant about doing that. Just then, a bunch of Brood show up with laser guns being held by their pincer hands. With the thought, the young Russian transforms his body from flesh and blood to organic steel, super strong, well nigh invulnerable. And so they're just fight. Carol's like, my blaster won't do much good here. You guys hold the fort. I'll bring Ileana. So they're doing it. Cyclops blasting, Wolverine's clawing, Colossus punching. Fight. And then Carol, true to her word, has brought Ileana back. But not Ileana. Ilandra. Which now I'm wondering, has Ilandra and Ileana ever spent time together? Well, no, they must have, because she was on Earth. Well, both of them were on Earth at the same time while Xavier was dating Lil. Leave him to me, Tosovich. Nice shooting, Magistry. We have what we came for, Cyclops. I suggest a strategic withdrawal. And Cyclops agrees, and they just start backing away. Elsewhere, and Storm is carrying Kurt, who is carrying Kitty, and Storm has like her black bathing suit, one piece suit, but then around her arms and legs, she has more like gold, like Egyptian bands around. And Kurt's wearing pretty much what Cyclops was wearing, but all red, but with a white belt. And then just his classic Nightcrawler white boots. And then Kitty's just the same as of the cover. And so the plans for them to go into the ship to Um, so the plans for them to get into a ship. Storm is enjoying being able to fly, but she feels like she's being slowly disconnected from the elements. Kurt bamfs him and Kitty near the spaceship, and then Kitty phases in while Kurt has to stay on the outside because he can't teleport. He needs line of sight. And so, but she needs to hurry though because Kurt's in the high atmosphere. He's going to pass out soon. And then to promote the book, I'm just going to uh, these next 3 pages. I'm going to just post, maybe edit them down, but so you can find that on Twitter and Instagram at SNFWM. And so Kitty's inside the airlock. It was frigid out there. Poor Nightcrawler. Even with his furry skin, that code must be brutal. If only he could have teleported abroad. But he can only port to places he can see, or those he knows him intimately. Darn, I wish I could have phased more than just myself. I could have brought him in with me. There's the airlock. And then a brood startles her and starts giving her chase. And this is 163, so 20 issues later, like legit 20 issues later. And Nagari was trying to kill her, so she's used to aliens chasing her through tight corridors. And she's like, a sleazoid. Aurora and Wolverine told me about them, but I never imagined they'd be so horrible. Watch it, he's good with those stingers. And so now she's just trying to get further down the hallway. I can't waste time sparring with this creep. That Nightcrawler needs me. That's what he thinks. He must not have seen me phase through the hall. I still recall everything Professor X taught me about the Shi'ar in X-Men 155. The airlocks are all based on the common design. The outer hatch won't open unless the inner one is closed, and vice versa. That's my next move. Once Kurt's okay, then we'll tackle the sleazoid. The controls are behind me. Shoot! The inner hatch is locked while we've figured it can't be opened from the outside. And then the bird gets one of its hands in there. Oh no! I wasn't fast enough. Freeing the lock. The sleazoid coming after me. Please, door close in time, please. And it does, but with the sleazoid on the inside, so I guess it didn't close in time. Now what? Everything's set. If I cycled the airlock and phase, I should be able to hold on while the explosive decompression voids the sleazoid from the ship. But that'd be murder. I can't. And then Kitty says out loud, uh-oh, you go back the way... Oh, you go back the way you came, or we're both dead. And he's like, you're bluffing. Call me. With pleasure. By the void, you become intangible. Surprise? No, I thought it was a question, but no, she's like, surprise. I'll duck out to the corridor, then back in here after he followed me, but this is taking so much time. Nightcrawler's dying. Kitty lunges for the inner hatch, phasing right through the guard. In rage, he twists frantically in midair in a desperate, futile attempt to grab her. In the process, one of his failing tentacles slaps the control panel. The lock cycles. And just as her plan, he gets sucked right out, and she's holding on for dear life, and he's gone. And this is the first reference of Kitty killing a person or a living sentient creature. And then 41s later, she's just killing Orcus people like crazy. So her kill count's in, double digits at this point, but pretty low double digits. And now she's dragging Kurt inside. I didn't want this. I didn't mean it. I know he probably deserved his fate, that he would have killed me without hesitation, that Wolverine would say I did right. But I'm not Wolverine, and I don't want to become like him. Ugh. Was it all for nothing? Kurt's like a block of ice, frozen to the marrow. Oh Lord, hear my prayer. Let my friend live. Meanwhile, Carol's blasting. The ship should have been ours by now, Scott. We should have been beamed up. Oh, right, because that's what they took over a ship so that they can teleport the street team up or the field team. And so they just have to keep fighting. And then Kitty's able to turn the ship around. Get the bullpen bulletins. Let's see here, what comics are on sale? Marvel 2-in-1, 93, The Thing and Machine Man and Jocasta. Dazzler 21, Kazar 20, Dennis the Menace 13, Daredevil 180 something, 5. Amazing Spider-Man 234, Captain America 271, Thor 325, Micronauts 47, Ghost Rider 74, Moon Knight 25, Hercules got a limited edition series number 2, Conan the movie 2, Wolverine limited series 3. Oh, how's that out? Because I thought he was missing from the series during that. X-Men 163, Marvel Tales 145, ROM 36, Power Man and Iron Fist 8020. Oof, maybe I should stop reading this. Vision Scarlet Witch had a limited series. Annie, Fantastic Four, Marvel Team Up 123, Spider-Man and Daredevil. Iron Man, Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man 72, Defenders, Star Wars, Master of Kung Fu, and Blade Runner. Marvel Magazines is Crazy, The Savage Sword of Conan, Bizarre Adventures, Marvel Fanfare 5, Epic, then Marvel Annuals, ROM Annual, X-Men Annual 6, Marvel Team Up Annual, Conan Annual, Captain America Annual, Star Wars, and Thor. I feel like once I said annuals, how all the other ones made sense. At full thrust, the TR boosts out of the Caesaroid atmosphere and away from its sun. And so Cyclops is excited, like they've escaped. Leandra, saying that they're not quite out of the woods just yet. And Scott's asking if they are armed, and Lilandra is saying that they do have some weapons, but it's mostly. But our surprises will not last. The distances involved are too great. We may have caught local planetary defenses off guard, but the out-of-systems units will be waiting for us. And Wolverine re-emphasizes, like, he should have killed the Queen when they had seconds. They just needed 10 seconds more, and they will be maybe even 5, Bub. And he could have killed the Queen right there and then. And Kitty says, Wolverine, why are you so angry? Why do you hate the Queen so? I'm glad you didn't kill her. Which might be telling of uh, something in the future. He faces his friends, his pain evident, mistaken by the X-Men for berserker rage, when in reality it is grief over what he alone knows and must now tell. He looks at each of them in turn and begins to speak when all guns open fire and someone's watching the ship. Next issue, Binary Star. What? 3 villains versus 14 heroes. The good guys haven't got a chance. Marvel and DC present the Uncanny X-Men and Teen Titans. Full page ad on sale August 8th by Chris Claremont, Walt Simonson, and Terry Austin. Pretty amazing. Great trade. I was about to say, well, if they ever make a Teen Titans movie, maybe we'll review it then, but there's literally a Teen Titans show, or Titans, which I started, but I didn't get far into that, nor did I get into Doom Patrol, and I know both of those are stellar shows. But that, everyone, is Uncanny X-Men 163. So we got 2 more issues to do, and then Infernal, we have 2 issues to do. We are hoping to see the Marvels this weekend, but we're also gotta clean this place to host Thanksgiving. So hopefully we can earn the Marvels. Well, they were mentioning this morning about wanting to watch Trolls 3, and I was like, come on, can we at least watch the Marvels and then watch Trolls 3 next weekend? But I didn't voice it because I'm just like, whatever, we might watch the Marvels the next week. But hopefully we can watch it. I'm still excited to do so. You can hear my excitement or read my excitable thoughts at on through social media at Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and Blue Sky at Jacko SIII or at shadowandflameofmagic.com, the website that started it all. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and I will talk at you next time. All right, bye.